Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sesh. We're changing up a few things out here on the channel. This is now going to be the Sesh OG podcast, and today's topic is top 5 movies to watch while high. And our special guest is Taylor's girlfriend, Bella. Hi, Bella.
Hi.
All right, so where do you guys want to start? You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You go first.
All right, so since it's the last thing we were talking about before we actually started this, my first one is actually 3 movies. It's the Cornetto Trilogy. Um, like you could really interchange any of them. They're all fucking great, and they all reward multiple viewings. But like Hot Fuzz for me, that's the one. Like I could watch that movie like 5,000 times and still not be tired of it.
Never gets old.
You know,
You learn something new.
since
each
weed
time.
is a big part of this, I guess we've got to give some love to Shaun of the Dead, because Ed's a weed. Nick Frost is a weed dealer in that. It's like the other thing I love is that like they don't do anything to actually tell you this, but like Sean was a DJ prior to working in like the appliance store. And the only like nod to that is the records that they throw at the zombie, and there's like a poster right by the door where it's like the only mention of Sean's last name, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but go back and watch it. You'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, and like the World's End is. It's like it's also weird like how emotionally some of those movies hit you. Like as someone who's struggled with addiction, watching The World's End is sometimes it's hilarious, sometimes it's like legitimately difficult to like watch that cuz it's like fuck. I know exactly what that's like. And
That's the only one I haven't seen.
like there's that one can get a little emotionally challenging, but at the same time, it's just a funny fucking movie. And also, it's like they call out the. It's again like Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg when they write together, they're the masters of fucking Chekhov's gun. It's like they will reference something early on and then come back to it. Like in World's End, I think there's 5 friends. And it was like, well, why was it only 3 musketeers? They could have had 5, and then just killed off 2 of them, and then they would have had 3, which is exactly what fucking happens. Spoilers, I guess. Whatever, fuck that. Like that's not really even important. But yeah, so the Cornetto trilogy. I highly recommend those movies. Going back to the actual OG podcast on the other channel, we did an entire episode about fucking Hot Fuzz,
Yes, we did.
which did not go as well as I would have hoped because the 2 guys that we actually had on hadn't watched the movie, so that didn't help. But all right, what's
All right,
what's your number
I'll go
5?
next. I'll go next. I'm gonna start it off with the OG Point Break. I'm talking Keanu Reeves. I'm talking what's his
Please
name?
don't tell me they remade Point Break.
Oh, they did, and I haven't seen it, but from what I saw on the trailer, was horrible.
Okay, Bella's face is telling me that maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's still in production, and there's a possibility that it might get shut down. Because fuck
They
that,
do
no.
it?
No, it's already out. It came out like a couple years ago. Looks terrible because this movie had such an impact, and then they remake it like fast and not like carelessly. Terrible. I don't remember who's starring in it. Doesn't it? Not important. But when you have Keanu Reeves, Patrick Swayze, I could just end the discussion right there.
Yeah, it's what
And then who's the old guy? The old guy that dies. Look it up real quick. It's what's his name? Anyways, hilarious. Not hilarious. The movie was epic.
Oh, Gary Busey.
Busey. Gary fucking Busey.
Gary Busey.
Sorry, Gary. I didn't mean to forget your name like that. I know you're watching. This is amazing movie. The story,
fucking
the
Gary Busey.
cinematography, the on-scene shots in LA, in Huntington Beach, up and down the coastline. Amazing. I showed her. She had never heard of it. And I'm like, you're going to want to watch this movie. Trust me. And she's like, well, what's it about? I'm like, surfing. And she's like, I don't want to watch a surfing movie. And then I'm like, you don't know. Like, I put it on.
I would not call Point Break a surfing movie.
Well, she said, what's it about? I'm like, kind of surfing, but kind of, I didn't want to tell her bank robberies. And then, like,
on a certain level, I feel like the Fast and the Furious ripped off Point Break on a certain level, but instead of surfing, it was illegal drag racing. Instead of bank robberies, it was DVD theft.
DVDs.
Or DVD player theft.
That movie is just incredible. I showed her, kind of blew her mind. Like, the journey that movie takes you on is amazing. The twist, then you find out that, oh my God, Patrick Swayze's the bank robber leader. And then the way he goes out at the end, where he just kills himself in the giant waves and everything. Like, that movie's incredible and forgotten. And for that reason, I'm starting off my list with the OG Point Break.
Hold on. Anthony Kiedis is in it from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody just skims over that. That shit
He's
took me off guard.
Yeah, he plays that one, like, surf bro that, like, get off my turf and, like, punches Keanu Reeves in the face kind of thing. And then they get arrested by the DEA later because they think that those guys are the bank robbers, and they do a raid and they're just drug distributors.
That's
awesome movie. And when you're high, you're going to be mind-blown. You'll be like, what? What? Oh, my God.
It's definitely got, like, the visual impact part of it. Because, like, some of those scenes are just, like, so epic that if you're baked and you're watching that, it's just like...
And if you live in LA, like, it's one of the movies that's set in LA and filmed on location in LA, of course, because that's, you know, they don't have to go far. But it's just, nostalgic purposes, it's dope, and you're like, you recognize things. It's an awesome movie.
All right, Bella, you're up.
Oh, my number 5.
No, your first pick of your 5.
Oh, well,
my first pick.
Whatever,
of my
just
5.
it's in any order. Go for it. Whatever. Who gives a shit?
Oh, okay.
The first
any
one.
order. Playing off of the visuals, I guess, the scenage. Coraline. Coraline?
Coraline.
Is that loud enough?
Wait, that's a
Disney animated movie?
It is an animated movie.
Well, it's like it's a stop motion movie. It's Tim Burton, right?
It's not Tim Burton.
I have,
but like kind of Tim Burton feel. People often get them mixed up because they have like the same.
It looks like a Tim Burton. It's a good movie.
That's not one I've seen.
No.
Colorful, but then like dark. It's wild.
Any females are watching will completely understand, because I know if my sister heard her say that right now, she'd be like, "Oh my God, yes!" Like, it's one of those movies that they just.
You
love.
said claymation, and like when like I think of that, the only thing I can think of is Chicken Run.
Basically, like Chicken Run or like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Or like those other Christmas movies with the Bumble and the fucking guy and the.
Rudolph.
Yukon Cornelius.
Yes. Hermie the elf that wants to be a dentist.
I want to be a dentist. That's what I think of whenever I think of those movies immediately. But yeah, that's a good pick, because when you're high, that's
like, it's just scary enough sometimes, but it's not too scary to where like sometimes you can get in your own head about like, oh, that was freaky deaky.
And it looks cool.
And, like, visually, yeah.
You can appreciate how they made it, because you're like, how long did this take to make? Holy cow.
Long fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, I did a for a project in high school, did a stop motion thing with like little Peanuts figurines.
How long was it?
Uh,
Playtime.
Playtime was 4 minutes. It took me over a month.
Jesus. I thought you were gonna say like 15 seconds. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it took for fucking ever. Much like Lost in Space, I greatly underestimated how much work it was gonna take to get that done. It was, Lost in Space was a like radio drama / DJ mix that stars those two. That has actually never been released. So.
SMH, bro. SMH.
We're still waiting for the drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might happen. It might never happen. I don't know. You know, I have ditched the DJ life and moved up north to become a pot farmer.
It happens to the best of us.
Yep. So I'm definitely gonna have to like. I'll probably like watch that in bits while I research clips to put up here, but like, yeah, I've never seen that one. Coraline is a.
Oh, good.
Alrighty, and on that note, back to you.
All right, since we're going on the visual, and I literally watched this last night, Tron Legacy. Now it's like the visuals, but also that soundtrack is fucking fire.
Good soundtrack, make a movie.
Like, when I heard they're gonna make another one, I'm just like, how the fuck can you make another Tron movie after Daft Punk has broken up? Like, how like, unless they get like Thomas and Guy-Man in as like the score, to get them in to do the music, but not call them Daft Punk, which is absolutely fine by me. Like that, like as long as those two are in charge of the music, I'm good with it. But like, for me, like it hits on multiple levels. Like, it was weird watching it because it was like I haven't watched it in a bit, and like for me, it was just okay. Visuals and soundtrack, it looks cool, the music is awesome, but then it was like the story. Like for me, hit me on a different level having watched it this time. And it was like, so Sam Flynn, the dude from Friday Night Lights, who is the son of the dude, Jeff Bridges.
Oh yes.
Is like struggling with like this legacy of a dad he never really knew.
Interesting.
And for me, that like really hit home because like my dad got sick when I was like 5 years old. I was like, I never got to know the real version of my dad. I only really knew the guy that he was after he got sick. And like hearing stories from like all the family friends and all the people that knew him in college and shit, it's like you are a spitting image of your dad. Like you are your father's son. Like, that's news to me. Like, I didn't know that, but where like at the same time, it's like, you know, it's at the end of the movie, it's like he decides to like take charge of his own legacy and like add to what his dad accomplished. And it's like that again hits home big time because it's like, I didn't know my dad, but I've added a few stories to the stupid shit he did back in the day. Like I've added my own bit to that, and like that really hit home and was like, fucking love that movie.
Well, there you go.
Also found out
Beautiful
they made
movie.
like an anime in the Tron universe, but like it got canceled after one season. Which, get off your ass, Disney! Make season 2. Like,
I'll drive down there tomorrow and let them know.
Yes, go yell at Bob Iger for me, please.
Yeah, I'm here with Uber Eats. Get right in and then boom, run up to the fucking.
Like, what the fuck did you do to Star Wars? You know, you ruined Finn, that whole character. Like the
Like, but
idea of
that's not why I'm
exploring the idea of exploring like the life of a stormtrooper who went to the other side, is just an absolute waste of a character. The way he was written, like that could have been so interesting, but like you basically take an amazing actor and make him run around screaming Ray for 3 movies. Like,
Yeah, we are not collectively fans of those new Star Warses at all. We don't even consider them in the canon.
that's fair. That's legitimately fair. I will also say that, like, are you guys fans of the prequels? Because I've
like,
softened on the prequels a lot over the years.
I was a huge, massive fan of Phantom Menace the moment I heard it was coming out. I saw it 3 times in theaters, and that's the most I've, to this day, ever seen a movie. I loved it. Yeah, no, I like all of them. I even like Attack of the Clones because that's the questionable one, in my opinion. Love it. And then
See, Attack of
Revenge
the
of the
Clones
Sith.
for me was like that was what really got me into like the deeper Star Wars universe.
Okay.
Because I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Well, if you remember in the original movies, like the first movie, it's like you fought with my father in the Clone Wars, and everybody always wanted to know what the Clone Wars was, and then boom, they put it to the screen. That was cool.
They also made like the animated TV show, The Clone Wars, too, which I have not
Yeah.
watched.
I have not watched that either, but Revenge of the Sith, in my opinion, is arguably top 1 or 2 Star Wars movies, period, because of what you find out. Because of what you find out.
Okay, I guess I can understand that.
And the way that they like flowed that information into the movie was, I thought, fantastic. Like, it wasn't like they just abruptly mentioned, no. Like, it's like you start like with the knowledge.
Part of me really
go back
feels
and watch
like
it.
George didn't write that script
No, I don't think he did.
because you gotta go back to the original Star Wars. George Lucas fucking sucks at writing dialogue.
Yeah, the dialogue was it flowed too well to be George writing it.
Yeah.
It was just like, it just the way that they drop it and the way that you see it building throughout the movie, it's like they wrote it for somebody who's already seen it, kind of thing, to like see the development. So like, you don't realize it's a movie you can go back and watch 100 times and see a little detail you never noticed. And I love that shit. And for that reason, that Star Wars is arguably, in my opinion, 1 or 2, but it doesn't make my list.
Let's get back to it. What's your next one?
Okay. Since we just ended with Star Wars, I feel like I gotta go right back into Star Wars. Rogue One.
Such a fucking banger.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad you agree. This movie, Bella's shaking her head because she to this day doesn't appreciate it as much as she should. But Rogue One might be one of the most monumental Star Wars like movies made in the like that's not part of the actual episode, like all the Star Wars content that's created outside of the main movies. I think this was so insane, and to this day she can vouch, this is the Star Wars movie I watch over and over and over and over and over, because one, not only is it epic, but two, the people they have in the movie did a phenomenal job. And the story of how they got the plans of the Death Star.
It's like, I love how they give us this whole huge movie with all these like wider implications, but it's literally just to answer one question.
Yes.
It's like, oh, how'd they get the Death Star plans onto R2-D2? Well, there you go. That's how they did it.
That's how they fucking did it, and it was insane. Like, the level that these people went to, like, you immerse yourself in the world. Like, they have nothing left. This is all that they're risking their lives beyond, like, 10 times over. And the fact that all the planets line up to that it just fucking happens to work is insane for the rest of the entire, like, saga to continue. Like, this was like the missing link of information that the Star Wars fan always dreamed of. And I think they did it perfectly. Like I
Well, they
wouldn't change a
really like
fucking
they
thing.
also like tied it off really well. Like they didn't like
Yes.
leave the like they didn't like leave the main characters in this state where like, oh well, what happened to them after that? Well,
Nope.
there was no after that. They're fucking dead. But like, yeah,
Not to
like
mention, we get to see finally the true power of like the magnitude of the power of the Death Star.
yeah,
Like for the first time ever. Like of course in the OG movies we see them explode Alderaan, but it's like a damn styrofoam thing
yeah,
with a
it's
black.
yeah.
It's not. But you see when they're talking to what's his name, the guy that plays Forrest Whitaker, who did an absolutely phenomenal job playing that character.
He shows
When
up again in like the video game that they released a couple years ago, Fallen Order. Really good in that too.
his voice acting, but then the entire character he transformed into, unbelievable. But then when like they're talking in his lair outside Jeddah, and all of a sudden like you see the Death Star come in front of the sun and everything goes dark, and then you see the beam come down and the massive magnitude of that, like it's like a million atom bombs in one just going off and it ripping the crust of the planet up into the air. That was just, I watched that scene over and over and over and over. And I think for the fact of the visuals, the Death Star, the information you get, how good the acting was, that's why Rogue One has made my list.
Yep. No notes. I gotta agree. It's a great movie to watch. Like,
All right,
it's a great movie to watch while sober. It's also a great movie to watch while high. Like,
there you go. That's usually how it goes.
It checks both of the boxes.
Alrighty,
Wow.
Bella.
Sticking with action packed, but also sticking with animation. And I have to say Ratatouille.
Action packed.
I fucking love that movie. I fucking love that movie.
I don't know. It's just heartwarming. It's got some action in there. It's got some love, and it really makes me not feel lazy because when I watch it, I get like heavily hungry.
You want to
And I
cook?
start
Okay, yeah,
cooking in
yeah.
the
That's like
kitchen,
that.
and
That
I
is
love-
a munchie inducing movie if you watch it while high.
For sure.
What I love like is like the reaction of all the people when they eat his food.
Mm-hmm.
That like it immediately takes them back to this point where like they're kids, and it's like, you know, the fact that they managed to put so much characterization into a CGI mouse. Like, bravo. You did a great fucking job. Like, I watched that for the first time when I was working in a restaurant, and it was just like, I don't know if we have rats, but have we ever tried to get them to cook? Like, who knows?
Who knows? No, it's a good movie. I will say she finally got me to watch it, and I was glued to the screen the whole time. It's a great movie. Is it Disney?
Yeah.
Pixar or
Pixar.
yeah,
Pixar. Yeah, phenomenal. One thing I will say that's hilarious, I think it's hilarious, is I saw somebody write one time, they're like, Ratatouille, great film, but the food critic who invested in a restaurant run by the rat is not making the best investment. Rat lifespans are about like 2 to 3 years, and
it's like
he's gonna die in like a year, and now this man's just fully invested and not gonna be able to recoup any money. The return's gonna be awful, and for that reason, I think that, and I thought that was hilarious, but
that's a great jumping off point for the next movie that I'm going to talk about, because when I first saw this movie, the first thing my friend said to me in the theater was like, this is bullshit. You know, giant robots would absolutely destroy city infrastructure. I'm like, yeah, but that's not the fucking point. And that
exactly
is in
what movie.
Pacific Rim, the fucking greatest kaiju punching giant robot movie ever made.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the epitome.
the like going back, like I watched a bunch of like the behind the scenes stuff about it. And it's like there was this one picture, I'll throw it up on screen in the edit, but it's this picture of Guillermo del Toro who went to Japan to like do like a bunch of kaiju research. And this company, I guess, sent out some dude in a kaiju costume, and Guillermo del Toro just got so hyped. He hugged the kaiju, and he's just smiling ear to ear. Like, I one day want to be as happy as Guillermo del Toro hugging a kaiju. Like, it's just one of those movies where it's like, it's full B-level premise, but with A-level effort put into it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fucking Idris Elba in that movie.
Oh, don't get me started. That's my boy.
We are canceling the apocalypse. That's like up there with like best all-time movie speeches. Like, for me at least.
Isn't Charlie Day in that?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
As some like scientist who's like geeking out over all like the illicit trade in like kaiju body parts. It's like there's this whole mythology that's built out and like just so well done. It's like if you look at all the Jaegers, they're actually designed in a way that like, were they to be real, they could work. But also at the same time, like, they're like unique to the whole giant robot punching giant monster, you know, genre. Because it's like they weren't allowed to talk about like Evangelion or Gundam or Power Rangers or anything like that. Like while they were designing them, they were like, okay, what are the pop culture references from the countries these things would come from that would show up? So like,
it's very smart.
Gypsy Danger is like a mix between the Chrysler Building and John Wayne.
What?
It's like so many, like. Then they all have these like super elaborate backstories that they never tell you about in the movie, but you know,
once you look into,
it is a fantastical rabbit hole of information if you ever decide to go down
that's movies I love, where they create a universe and then they create everything within it.
As like one of the shots in that movie where it's like they're in the city. And you see this hand, just like the Jaeger hand, come through the building and like stop right before a desk.
Yeah.
What is crazy about that is like that's all miniature.
Damn.
And so there was a company that had to make all the little tiny pieces of paper with things written on them. And it's like, how much work did that take? And did they have the Ratatouille mouse doing the work on like writing shit? Because it's like I have no concept of like how they got that done. I feel like that had to have been the most expensive shot in the movie.
That's shit that I love though. Like when they go to those lengths to produce a film. You know what I mean? The filmmaking. This is what it is. This is art. Yes. I love that.
Pacific Rim is definitely up there. It's also just like, it's one of those movies that's so dumb that you just kind of have to respect it. Because it's like, yeah, we know this is a dumb premise and we know this could never happen, but fuck you, we're going to make this movie anyway.
But like, imagine how sick it would look on the screen.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's like where they fucked up with the second one.
There's a second one?
Yeah, don't watch it. It's fucking horrible. But like, the whole thing is like when they were filming the fights between the Jaegers and the kaiju, the whole thing, like, Guillermo del Toro's philosophy was like it had to look like a camera could actually film that.
Yeah, I see what
So
you're saying.
it wasn't like this weird free floating camera that they could just put anywhere. It was like no, like this has to be like in a spot where a legitimate film camera could record this. And it's
Yeah.
like and it comes across that way, which is just like the attention to detail is on a completely different level.
Mm-hmm.
And had some other studio not decided to pass on a different idea, we never would have gotten it.
Mm.
Because like he'd spent like 20 million of his own money on some like Cthulhu like crazy fucking property with Terry Gilliam, and couldn't get anybody to give him like the 125 million or like give him the rest of the money they needed to make it, so it just died.
Cthulhu.
Hey man, I do like have you ever seen Hellboy?
Yeah.
Those are some weird fucking movies, but like it just does kind of fits with what like I think he also did Pan's Labyrinth.
Probably.
That's a dope movie.
I haven't seen it, but it's like I feel like Cthulhu would be very much in Del Toro's wheelhouse. He would be very much at home with that kind of imagery, but at the same
Sounds
time,
all right.
yeah, he had Terry Gilliam involved, and that dude's fucking nuts. In the best way possible, but he's fucking nuts.
All the best people are a little nuts.
I just want to know, like, how... Like, I've watched documentaries on Monty Python, like, and it still doesn't adequately explain how Terry Gilliam, a guy who went to Occidental College in Middle America, ended up as a part of one of, if not the most influential comedy groups in human history. There's just like, so it's five, a bunch of British dudes who all went to like the same two colleges. They all kind of knew each other. And then this one random American.
It's funny how things work out sometimes.
Yep. But
well, I think it's time. Ooh.
looking over your list, like, I can't decide. I can't decide which one's next.
Okay, I'm going to do... I've made a choice. So, for my third choice of top 5 movies to watch when you're high, I'm going to go with the Dune Universe. Now, if you want to watch it when you're high and you've never seen it, I would probably say watch the new one that just came out first. Because that one's going to grab you by the balls and the dick. And it's going to be amazing. You're going to be sitting there, going to be like, oh yeah, well, Dune, whatever. And you're going to turn it on, and you're going to see something that we, as the Dune community, always dreamt of since... I mean, I've not been around since the 80s, but since I've been born, I've been watching Dune. My dad was always showing this movie. And we
To be fair,
more.
I have to bring this up. You have been telling me to watch Dune since college.
Years, brother, years. And I've been telling every other person I know. And nobody listens. No one listens. Even sci-fi people don't listen.
Well, my whole thing is I didn't listen. Until I did.
until you just decided one day, let me give it a shot.
And it's like you can't see them because my fucking microphone's in the way. But those Dune books are on the fucking bookshelf right now. I'm working my way through them. It's like within the first 5 minutes of the new Dune, it was just like, okay, what the fuck is all this? This is like Game of Thrones in space, but way weirder, and all based around drugs. I am so into this shit. Like,
I remember you texting me and you're like, bro,
bro, why the
I'm
fuck
sorry.
didn't I listen to you sooner? Like,
I'm sorry.
I felt like such a dick because I'm like, oh, Taylor's not really he's. I thought your nerd credentials were not there. I was like, okay, Dune, whatever. I'll maybe I'll watch it eventually. And I was just like, oh fuck. Now I've seen the new one multiple times, the old one, the Jodorowsky's Dune documentary, and I finished the first book.
There we go.
Yeah. If you haven't watched Dune, watch it. Then smoke and watch it again.
Yes, and then continue watching it until you understand everything, which will never happen. You'll watch it for the rest of your life.
No,
it is the vastness of the universe that Frank Herbert created. That people like Frank Herbert only come around every once in a while. You got your J.R. your Tolkien's. You got your the lady that wrote the Harry Potters. But you got. I'm talking about universe creators that create something, and then they create everything within it. They create languages. They create historical texts. They create everything you can imagine. But this man took it to the expansion of the entire known universe, which is just mind-boggling. He's creating. I mean, how many books? Frank himself wrote, I think, 4 to 8 books.
Or it's like, yeah, it was 4. He was like part of the way through 5. His son finished it, and they've him and another collaborator have like wrapped up the story. But at the same time, it's like
it's insane.
Over the course of the whole story of the Dune universe, it's thousands of years.
Yeah, I think it covers like something like 35 to 40,000 years.
Yeah,
and we only come into the picture in the movie in like year 10,600 or something like that. Meanwhile, it goes back like, and time initially started, I'm pretty sure, once the Spacing Guild was put together and merged with the Emperor and whatnot. And then now they're like, okay, this is
that's what like the acronym in like the beginning of the movie when they show like what year it is. That AG is after Guild, and it's like
after Guild. And we're like 10,000 AG or something like that. And the Spacing Guild mixed with the Emperor has basically been politically running the universe for some time. But if you look into the older books, they came out, they're newer books, but they discuss the past, like the Butlerian Jihad. I have that on the shelf right there. Bella's reading that one right now.
Really good.
You're like, what the F? This is...
Well, it's like...
vast doesn't really quite cut it.
It's almost like Dune could be like some kind of extension of the Terminator franchise.
I could kind of see that because they eventually destroy they're like, there shall never be another computer made in the likeness of man.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like...
which it kind of explains why they're so primitive in certain aspects of the culture. Whether they carry a knife as a sidearm.
Well, no, that's different because like it's the shield that they wear. If it's hit with a projectile that's moving quickly enough, what basically happens is like a localized nuclear explosion. They'll basically kill anyone in like a pretty decent area. So like knives are really the only way to get through that and kill people.
Of course. But they've got the shields. Right, whatever. But you don't think they had extremely advanced weaponry during the machine times?
What I really love is like the little
and they
details.
Still do.
Is like when you see them, like especially when you see the Harkonnens arriving on Arrakis, like when they're like attacking in the movie,
in the middle of the night, which is an epic scene.
When you see like that weird cylindrical like crazy ship thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, you see through like the hole on one end of it, and it's like it's another planet on the other side, which is like an advanced physics principle where it's like folding space-time over on itself to travel vast distances. Like, not only is it like really dope, but scientifically it makes sense.
This is why I was like, how are you not into this, dog? Like back in the day, I'm like, how are people not into this? This is the
What's
craziest
also
thing I've ever
fucking
seen.
hilarious is that like George Lucas ripped off so much of Dune for Star Wars.
I mean, that's a conversation I didn't want to bring up, but yeah.
But like at the same time, it's like so like these aren't the droids you're looking for. Like that's the Bene Gesserit voice to a T.
And it's like the droids that you're looking for. The Bene Gesserit. That's another part of this. Another fucking section of this whole thing that's just mind blowing. Like
we're gonna have
thousands of years they've been sitting there breeding the Kwisatz Haderach. Like it's just insane.
Okay, if you like, we need to do a whole Dune episode of this just to like confuse everyone. It's like
yes, and I think on that note we should move on.
Yeah,
because we need to.
I think we spent as much time talking about Dune as like all the previous entries put together. But fuck it.
And as a final cap note here, you got to watch the original high as well, because the original, though it's not as good of a movie visually, answers a lot of questions that you will have from watching the first one. And to top it all off, the soundtrack is created by Toto. And the fucking soundtrack, in my opinion, is the best thing that they left out entirely. I wonder if that was a licensing thing that they couldn't get it, but
sorry, but like
theme music,
when it comes to like what was planned out for Jodorowsky's Dune, to have Pink Floyd do the music,
no, that would have been horrible. Had I heard a guitar, I would have been pissed off. I want epic horns. I want it sounding like the most epic thing you've ever heard of, and that's what I got in the first movie. The first movie brings that out of me. The second movie, I was left in anticipation. I was like, what? I just get some like Arab woman yelling into the sunlight, which is dope. I do like it. It fits with the new movie, and it also fits with the weird Middle Eastern influence that Frank Herbert had on the entire universe. But I don't have the bum 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 bum.
Yeah,
I don't have that.
All right,
but
Bella.
Anyways, let's move on.
What's your next one?
Passionate about this one. My next pick. This is my girly pick. This is the pick for all the girlies that love. What's the word? I can't even think of the word right. Musicals. Moulin Rouge. Hold on. Don't be looking away. Hold on.
I thought you were gonna say Mamma Mia.
Second. No. You have Nicole Kidman. You have Obi-Wan fucking Kenobi, aka What?
His AKA is his real name.
I'm not gonna lie. Had Moulin Rouge been, had Ewan McGregor's character actually been Obi-Wan Kenobi, that might have been an interesting movie. But
it's so good.
Turn of the century France with a Jedi just randomly popping up. That would be fucking great.
It puts you through a roller coaster of emotions, right? Because it's like a love story. But he's trying to push me closer to the thing right now because apparently I'm not talking loud enough.
Because you're talking too loud and you're too far.
Oh, I'm talking too loud.
No.
Their soundtrack and the music the songs that they use for the musical is not like normal. Like, okay, yeah, Mamma Mia, they use ABBA, but this one they use like Nirvana. They use fucking Lady Marmalade or Marmalade or whatever, like fucking Christina Aguilera, like
Lil Kim,
Pink,
everybody.
Yeah. They have that one Marilyn Monroe song, Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. Like, what?
So the soundtrack's phenomenal.
The soundtrack is phenomenal. And it's all sang by Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman.
And what did I say before? A good soundtrack will make a movie.
Yeah, a good soundtrack can completely change. Like
The
it's enough to elevate a decent movie to a great movie,
Oh
or a
yeah, it's like
bad
dry
movie to
aging
an
a
okay.
choice
Like
steak.
yeah, it's. My whole thing is like, so I went to the actual Moulin Rouge before seeing the movie. And it was just like, yeah, they're really setting people up for to be real disappointed if they ever go see the real thing, because it is not like that at all.
What even is it? I don't know nothing about
It's
this movie.
basically like a nightclub now.
Oh,
I've
what?
been trying to show him this movie forever. Actually, I'm gonna emphasize 5 ever. And every time I like try to get him to watch it, he doesn't want to watch it because it's a musical. But it's so good. It's
That's not why I don't want to watch it. I've seen what it's about, and it doesn't interest me.
so good. It's so good.
Bro, don't
Like
be
you
a bitch.
preface,
Just watch it.
this is for the
It's like
girlies.
Mean Girls. Like you may not
No,
like you may be
it's
one of those
not
dudes
like
who
Mean
will
Girls.
say that you don't like that movie, but like
No, I
there's
love Mean Girls. I'll say I'm the first person to say it's like one of the funniest movies ever made.
it's just the what's it Regina George getting hit by the bus. Like that was
And she died. Just kidding. But
she absolutely died, but they just off camera somehow found a way to resurrect her and put her in the football
full
injury
body
the
fucking
Halo.
spinal cast and Halo.
But just get like humor your girlfriend. Come on.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
He already said he's seen it.
Isn't it? I might be a little biased right now. I think it's an amazing movie, and it's a multiple watch for me. It's kind of like my Ratatouille as well. Just a nice comfort film, high or not high.
All right. And on that note, back to you, Douglas.
I'm toying between a couple options, but I have to go for, and you can actually see him in the shot right now, over my shoulder.
That's not Christ the Redeemer.
No, that's T'Challa, brother. That is Black Panther. That's what
I
I'm gonna
dead
go with
thought
this
that was
time.
Christ the Redeemer this whole time. I'm like, damn, okay, my man repping Brazil.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, as what may appear to be the whitest person you've ever met, his favorite superhero is Black Panther, because he's the only Marvel superhero who got his powers through drugs. Like you have to go on a full-on vision quest to the spirit realm to get your superpowers. That's the shit that I like. It's like that's just weird. But at the same time it's like like Black Panther basically just like did DMT and got superpowers.
That's what I'm trying to do.
And also like Chadwick Boseman to me like embodied that role so fucking well.
He did a good job.
Yes.
I haven't seen the movie.
And like fuck, who is he? Like he's in Creed. Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger.
R.I.P.
Wallace.
I've been showing her The Wire, and Michael B. Jordan just got killed.
But yeah,
she cried.
like there's like
You gonna cry again?
for so much of that movie, it was like they didn't like it wasn't like a Marvel movie where it's like fan service. It was like they were adding legitimate characterization to this place that we've heard about but never actually got to see. Like in the comics you see it all in the comics you see it all the time, but like to actually see Wakanda, this secretive, super advanced African nation be brought to life on the big screen. And it's like this celebration of just like all this culture that you don't get in a lot of movies. It was really cool.
Well, now I kind of want to watch the movie. I never had interest in watching it.
Absolutely should. But it took on a completely different meaning for me after I got my Ancestry DNA test back.
You're black?
10%.
Doug's black!
Where?
Yeah. It's like, holy shit. Not that I look it, but, you know, it's like, my love of that character, like, to me, never made sense prior to that.
Yeah, maybe don't explain what she's talking about.
But at the same time, it was like, yeah, it was like this. I felt like, I don't know, I've always loved that character. And then to then find that out after.
You've told me that you were a fan of this years before the movie came out.
When I went to go see it at midnight, my friend and I were like two of the only white people in the theater. And this, like, the lady who was sitting next to me was like looking at me incredulously, like, are you just here because you're a comic book fan? I'm like, no, fucking T'Challa's my favorite character. And like, I'm having this long conversation with this lady, like, through the previews about like why I love Black Panther. And it's like, it's like, okay, so like one of the first like comic book movies I ever saw was Billy Zane's The Phantom. Check it out. It's fucking horrible, but in the best way possible. It's one of those.
Let me write that down.
It's one, again, another movie, like, that's one that you need to watch while high, because if you watch it sober, you're gonna be like, nah, I'm good. If you're high, it's like you can laugh at it. But
yeah, I see.
What I loved about that was like, it was this idea that like almost like the Dread Pirate Roberts vibe, where it's like, you know, oh, this character can never die because when the father dies, the son takes his place. And it was like, oh, there was always this lineage. And like what you see in like the comics, which is like what I really like, was like there's this council of Black Panthers. So he can go into like the spirit realm when he's having trouble like working something out. And he
just gets real high and starts talking to spirits.
Well, like all the other Black Panthers that came before him. Like he has access to that like collective information. And it's a really cool way to like explain a lot of exposition without like getting bogged down in like random crap. It's like, oh, well, how'd you learn that? Oh, the mystical council of Black Panthers told me. And it's like, to see like that character brought to life in that way was amazing. I am really worried, legitimately worried about Black Panther 2 though.
There's a second one?
Well, because it's part of the MCU, man. They're not going to stop making those movies. But the problem is, like, you can't recast Chadwick Boseman. Like, that's just not doable.
I was going to say, have they even mentioned who...
Well, it's already set up.
It's already...
Because you already said there's been previous Panthers before him. So, boom, they're just going to bring a new Panther in.
Yeah, but it's it's either, like, who's going to fill the role? It's either going to be Killmonger, because they know they're bringing him back. It's like, yeah, I get it. He pulled the knife out of himself at the end of the first Black Panther, but, you know, you see Martin Freeman's character get cured from, like, a shot in the neck, like, bullet. Like, they're a super advanced African nation. They can fix that shit. It's either...
We're just going to have to find out.
It's either him or his sister Shiri, but I don't know. I think it... That one's good because it's got action. It's got, like, what's the... I forgot what the actual, like, thing is called, but, like, the spirit realm, it's, like, this African savanna. It's got this, like, dope purple sky, like, really, like, cool visuals matched with, like, really good action. And also, like, there's some legitimately funny parts in there, too. It's like...
Well, It sounds like I need to watch this movie.
I think you should.
On that note, let's move on to the next one.
Yep, you're up.
Now, this was in my brain. I got a list of honorable mentions, and I'm like, do I swap? Absolutely not for this one. My next pick, and you notice how the light just came back on. My next pick is Rambo 5. For anybody that has seen Rambo 5, you know what I'm talking about. This movie is absolutely insane. It's also probably, it is literally the climax to the Rambo series, and it is, in my opinion, the best Rambo movie that exists.
Okay, I'm not laughing at your pick. I'm laughing at the fact that like Bella like matched your facial expression perfectly right behind you, and you had no idea. Oh my god.
It's okay, because she knows. She knows how epic this movie is. I've made her watch this movie at least 3 times. This movie, unbelievable. If you're a fan of the Rambo movies at all, and you haven't seen the 5th one because you're like, oh my god, he's an old ass man. He's 70 years old. I think 70, 71 filming this movie. But the way that Sylvester looks is insane regardless. But what happens in this movie, like in the movies, they progressively get more and more like just gory. And of course, people, the demographic that watches those movies wants more of that. And by Rambo 3, you're like, holy shit, with the helicopters and stuff, like ripping people apart, and Halo, what am I talking, Halo? And fucking Rambo 2.
Talk about a fucking terrible TV show.
Oh yeah, we're not even go down that road. When the napalm hits, and then like in the 3rd movie, what you see him do with the 50 and stuff like that, ripping people apart, you're like, yes, yes! It gets crazier and crazier. The 4th movie is dope, but the 5th is literally the climax of what the Rambo fan has been waiting for throughout it all. It's been building, boom, the crescendo. And it's phenomenal. Because you know in the beginning when the girl says she wants to go back down to Mexico and find her father, you know that's not the right idea. You know. And the whole audience is like, don't go in there. Don't do that. And then Rambo's like, don't do it. And then she goes down there, gets herself drug raped and killed. And now you know John Rambo.
He's going back for revenge. That's
when there's revenge involved with John Rambo, oh my god.
Rips right out.
And the very end of the movie, the crescendo of the movie that is the crescendo itself, this fool nails a guy to the fucking wall with a bow and arrow, because you know the bow and arrow is his way to go. Silent killer. And then cuts the man's chest open, all on film. None of this is like, film goes away to the side. No, and you see the man go into this man's chest and rip his heart out, and then he watches the man die with his own heart in his hands. I don't think there's anything more insanely badass and like the ultimate dude of all dudes than Rambo 5. I watched that movie like 3 years after it came out, or I don't know when it came out. I watched it earlier this year, but I know it came out years ago. Because I was one of those guys that's like, he's 70. This is just a money grab, a squeeze. They're trying to get water from this rock. But it was arguably the best one they ever did. I was blown away. I called my dad immediately. Called him immediately when the movie ended. I said, have you seen this movie? Oh yeah, I've caught bits and pieces on television. I'm like, no. You need to go and rent the movie now and watch the actual full length thing, because this is it. This is it. We all doubted him. Throw me in the boo box now, because I doubted Sylvester Stallone on this last movie, and it blew me away. If you're into that kind of thing, watch this movie.
Even if you're not into it.
Yeah, she's not.
First ever introduction.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was on edge.
Oh
It
my
was
god.
good.
Because every time in a regular movie, every time you're like, just you're with the one character and you're like, just kill that guy, and then he takes the higher road or something. He's like, no, he deserves justice or something. No, no, no. Nothing is left at the end of this
No.
movie in your mind.
Well,
There's nothing like
that's not the Rambo style. Like it's
no.
no prisoners, just death.
What happened in Terminator, thank God, never happened in Rambo. It kept building. Whereas in Terminator, immediately Terminator 2, fucking he comes into the scene, he's like, I'm no longer going to kill people. And you're like, what?
Bro,
Turn the movie off now.
Terminator 2, no bullshit. I saw it for the first time when I was 14.
Okay.
That has led to a lifelong fear and trepidation about AI. No bullshit. I have been like fearful of the rise of the machines since I watched that movie. And it's only gotten worse as I've gotten older. It's like when they built one of those fucking Boston Dynamics robots and then some military contractor decided to slap a gun on it. I'm like,
Bro, every time I see a Boston Dynamics video, I'm like, here we go. Skynet has gone live.
it's the Dr. Ian Malcolm thing. All they thought about was whether or not they could. Never thought about whether or not they should.
Yep. That's all.
Which, yeah, Jurassic Park, definitely an honorable mention. But,
and on that note,
Never seen Jurassic.
what?
Jesus Christ.
You have never seen the majesty that is, half silk shirt open Jeff Goldblum from the fucking
Jeff
90s?
Goldblum.
Like, that
That's
man
all I
is
was gonna
immaculate in that movie. Which,
Jeff Goldblum.
he's a boss.
Never seen it, but I've read the book.
Okay, you got me beat there. I couldn't give a shit about that book.
It's like a grocery store book. Anyways,
I don't know.
you're up now.
Alright, I'm gonna take it back down a couple notches. We're gonna go with Superbad.
Ooh.
Just surface level comedy. Sometimes you just need to turn your brain off and enjoy what's going on right in front of you. You don't need to think more or be impressed by the crazy visuals. Like, just simple comedy.
Not to mention that's probably one of the greatest comedies ever done in history.
It's like, what I love about that movie is that you think about it, it's like, it's a very troubling premise. But they go out of their way to make sure that he fails fucking miserably. That nothing goes the way they plan, nothing goes the way they want it to. It all just fucking goes off the rails. And it's just like, yeah, don't try and be that dude, cause it ain't gonna work out for you.
You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy.
I also remember that movie started like this craze in my high school of dudes just drawing dicks on everything.
Veiny, triumphant bastards too.
Yeah. Just lots of dicks everywhere.
Bro, that's all anybody quoted or said in a public setting for like 3 years after that movie came out.
Yeah,
that was like the most, other than like Anchorman, that was like one of the most, if not the most impactful high school movies, period. Like, and by high school movies, I mean movies that high schoolers thought were funny. Like that shook
or
the
movies
nation.
Set in a high school.
That movie shook the fucking nation when it came out. That's all anybody quoted, period, for years.
It's like it's a Breakfast Club Ferris Bueller-esque kind of impact.
Yeah, for our era. It was like our version of that. And it was just so on point. It was ridiculous how on point and funny that shit was. Bro, today, to this day, every time I'm driving in Berkeley and I need a beer or beers for the evening, I stop at the fucking liquor store where McLovin goes in and gets punched in the face, and then and then the cops come in and they're like, "So, did he look like you? They look like me?" They're like, it's just like, "Yeah, he looked like you."
Oh,
He's
so
like,
Jewish.
"Ah, so he's Jewish." We got an African Jew wearing a hoodie, and she's like, "No, no, no! I got a goddamn veterinary exam tomorrow. Can't be doing this shit." But he's got an exam tomorrow. And they have a picture of the two cops from the scene, like sun bleached, just up on above the register.
I would expect and hope for nothing less.
It's fucking amazing. And then the whole parking lot scene, same parking lot. It's the exact same parking lot where he gets hit by the car. That guy, who he comes out and he's like, "Oh, geez, ooh, I'm so sorry."
Oh God.
But don't call the police because I got a warrant out for a totally nonviolent crime. That is the same parking lot, and every time
I haven't thought about that movie in years. Now that I am, it's all coming back.
Bro, it's all.
I've watched that shit so many times.
Oh yeah, dude, that's a movie you just put on during a party, and it's that you get like a crowd of people hovering around for an hour and a half watching the damn movie, like that. With your boys after a smoke, maybe a beer or whatever else you indulge in, and you all just sit down in somebody's living room and they pop in that movie. That's a night right there.
It has to be said though, I kind of miss Fat Jonah Hill.
Bro, Jonah Hill is a goddamn chameleon or a transformer. This man fully transforms into different people all the time. I don't understand. He's fat, then he's skinny, then he's thick, then he's fat again, then he's skinny again, and he's different people each time he is.
It's like in the new Batman.
He's a skinwalker.
No. In the new Batman, I really wish that the Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot, was not
Colin Farrell.
Yeah, Colin Farrell, but Jonah Hill. I feel like he would have been so good in that role.
That would have been crazy.
That would have.
He could have played a killer penguin.
Yeah.
Oh, I never would have thought about that. Oh shit.
I think that threw me off was that Colin Farrell didn't look like Colin Farrell.
Didn't look like Colin Farrell, didn't sound like Colin Farrell. It's like, what's the fucking point of putting him in your movie if you're...
That's what I said.
I'll tell you right now, because they know the range that Colin Farrell apparently has that we now all know. And they're like, I told her, I'm
just sorry, but if you're going to make Colin Farrell sit in a fucking prosthetics chair for 3 hours every day, why the fuck are you going to make him look like that?
Because listen to what I'm saying.
He is a good-looking man. And I'm going to be like, why you cover that face up?
The Penguin is not a good-looking man. That's the thing.
Then why not build something into the story where he gets his face fucked up?
What I told her was he must have came into that initial table read or whatever, or audition reading of the script, and done such a phenomenal job with creating the fucking Penguin that they were like, holy shit, we need to do some kind of 3-hour-a-day prosthesis thing to make... This is the guy. Fuck everybody else, cancel all the rest of the appointments. This is the guy. Like, it had to have been something like that because...
Well, I mean, like, they're giving him an entire fucking HBO Max show, so he clearly...
I can't believe they chose Paul Dano for freaking the Riddler, though.
They nailed that casting, too, because he was creepy as shit.
He was, but, like, I just didn't think... Like, out of all the people that I would Riddler, last person on my mind I would have ever thought played the Riddler.
Well, because these people probably came in and transformed into these characters at the reading, and were like,
Well, it also has to be said that, like, the last time we saw the Riddler on the big screen was Batman Forever, and that shit was just...
That was like comical Batman shit. 2-bit
That was
Batman.
the Batman that we had Arnold Schwarzenegger and...
Okay, we got to move on, guys.
I fucking love that one. Don't talk shit about Batman Forever.
Yeah, I'm not.
You know, Batman. You know, bat nipples for life. But all right, I guess I will go with my last pick.
Because we are running out of daylight over here.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Fantastic.
It is just literally nonstop action the whole time.
Another movie I thought was going to be dumb when I first saw the trailer, but then watched it and was blown away.
But what, like, really good.
We'll watch it.
It proves that Mad Max is a feminist. Because it's a Mad Max movie, but Mad Max isn't the main character. It really, like, it tells the story of Furiosa more than it does Max. You know, it's kind of like he's along for the ride. He's, you know, he'll suggest shit, but she's the one that's calling the shots. It's like, it's this weirdly progressive story that's told through the lens that, like, not a lot of people, I think, like, would really pick that up, but I think that's what I took away from it. Also, like, what I love is the fucking just saga of what it took to get this movie made. So, like,
it was one expensive movie too.
It's not even that. It was like, so they had the OG Mad Max, then Beyond Thunderdome, and then 30 fucking years, and then Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
And it's like originally, before he died, Heath Ledger was supposed to play Max, which that would have been fucking amazing. But throwing another honorable mention for The Dark Knight.
Oh, dude, that's
like,
what I got.
Hands down, one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. But
if not the.
But, like, you know, then they got Tom Hardy. But then they were supposed to film in Australia in this, like, obviously, you know, dune covered part of the outback. And for, like, this once in a generation weather event happens where a ton of rain gets dumped on that area, and it goes from just desert into like a flower garden. You know, green and lush and everything. It's like they had to, like, it was just like, and then they had to pay, like, just fuck tons of money to move the entire production from Australia to Namibia.
Shit.
Just the amount of, like, shit that happened that could have prevented this shit from getting made, but yet somehow Frank Miller had the fucking balls to go to the studio and say, like, yeah, this is gonna get made.
The cojones to not quit.
Like, fine, I will give you Happy Feet 3 if you give me Mad Max Fury Road. Because, yes, if you don't know, the guy who did Happy Feet 1 and 2 also did the entire Mad Max series. Which...
That's a good movie.
That's pretty mind-boggling.
Just a very odd creative range.
Wait till you see Mad Max.
You ever seen everything?
Like,
Yeah,
it's...
but I'm saying the polar opposites of Mad Max and Happy Feet. You're going to be like, that's the same guy?
I get what he's trying to say.
Yeah, but, like, and what, like, one of the things that I love most about, like, the process was, like, it was meant to be an entirely visual story. So you could watch it without the sound and have it would make, you know, the idea,
You'll
I guess.
Understand.
Yeah.
You'll still understand.
Yeah, it'll make just as much sense either way.
That's very interesting.
And obviously, just, like, the fucking visuals are insane. Like, going through the sandstorm and all that, that's great. The fucking Doof Warrior on the top of that big thing with the guitar. It's
all of it, dude.
Well, the funniest thing about that guitar is it's real, and it worked.
Oh, I believe it.
And it was plugged into that giant fucking rig. They dubbed over something else later on, but it's like the fact that, like, Frank Miller's that guy that's, like, everything has to work. We can punch things up with CGI, but everything has to work. It has to be practical, otherwise it's not going in the movie.
These are people I love.
But the logical extreme of that is, yes, I need a guy in a skull mask standing on top of a giant car covered in speakers with a guitar that shoots fire.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to work.
And it has to look dope.
And it has to be usable so that the friend of mine that I bring in from this Australian metal band can actually stand on top of it during the production and play it.
Yeah.
It probably sounded like ass, but the fact that it worked at all is amazing. And like it just to like it speaks to like the amount of work that actually goes into those movies when you think
that's the beauty that I love is when I find out a lot of work went into like one scene, because that could have easily been CGI.
Bro, it's not even that. It's like if you look at the cars, there's not a car in that movie that's made before 1980.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be Mad Max.
Yeah, but like can you imagine like in a movie where so much of it's based on cars? You know, there was someone at the studio was like, look, we had someone from Ford reach out. They want to put a new Mustang in the movie. They're willing to pay us $50 million to make that happen. And Frank Miller's like, no, I want a Ford Falcon from 1979.
Mm-hmm. It has to be that.
And yeah, that level of detail is just fucking amazing.
And devotion to detail.
Yeah, and it's a triumph in artistic integrity.
This is why this movie deserves this honor.
Yep.
Because these are the movies that I hunt for. I don't enjoy movies that are too Hollywooded. We've talked about this a million times. When you let the guy do what the guy wants to do, you get a phenomenal movie.
A Thor Ragnarok, for instance. Taika Waititi basically went into Marvel and was like, look, I'm going to make this movie. You're not going to tell me otherwise.
And I'm going to make it the way I want to make it, the way it should be made, not just politicized
and
profit maximization bullshit.
And he took Thor from a like B-tier punchline character in the Avengers to what he is now, which is like one of the most popular characters in that franchise. And it's like the one thing I'm sad about when it comes to Mad Max Fury Road is that one, there was supposed to be like a Furiosa anime that was supposed to come with it that got bailed on, and a video game where the story was actually written by Frank Miller. Now there is a really good Mad Max video game out there, but the story is not like it's not connected to the movies because
like off-brand.
Well, it was like Warner Brothers had the rights to it and then decided to like sell it to like basically, get a studio to make it. But the studio just refused to bring Frank Miller in to do any kind of consultation on the story.
Well, tomorrow when I'm hitting Disney, I'll stop by Warner Brothers too. Uber Eats for so-and-so. Walk right in, talk to Frank Miller. Or not talk about Frank Miller. What the fuck were you guys doing?
It's like, bro, if you could just roll in somewhere and talk to Frank Miller, like, that'd be dope. He is a...
Hey, I've seen some crazy people just casually, like, get, like, in passing. Like, it could happen. I just need to look up a picture of what he looks like.
I'll send that over after we're done recording this. But let's move on to your next one.
All right.
Your last one, I guess.
I had one picked, but this was too cliche for Taylor. So I swapped it for one I think fits much better. And that is Remember the Titans. Now, this movie is one that, of course, not high, will bring every emotion out of you. But when you watch it when you're a little stony, this is one of the greatest movies ever made. Like, this is not a sports movie either. This is a life movie. This movie is about life.
With the undertone of sports.
Undertone of sports, and that's how I sold it to Bella. Bella had never seen this movie, and she was never interested in seeing this movie because she's describing other football movies. She said Friday Night Lights, all this other stuff.
Friday Night Lights is amazing.
Yes, but I'm like, no.
You want to watch a really bad football movie, the Invincible with Mark Wahlberg, where he ends up playing for the Eagles. That one's so bad it's funny.
That's like a Neo Rudy wannabe movie. Like it's like a wannabe Rudy movie, but like you can't. I mean, Rudy's a great movie, but like it's still a football movie.
Yep.
This is not a football movie. This is a movie about life, and this is one hell of a beautiful movie. And you could put that movie on, and like any kind of person sitting there, and they're gonna get sucked in. It's insane. The characters, the casting, the twist, that movie is one of the most feel good, but also like impactful movies.
Absolutely fucking heartbreaking when Gary Bertier is in the fucking hospital, bro. Like,
when you see him,
it still makes me tear up now,
dude. It will bring a tear to everybody's fucking eye because the movie does such a good job of sucking you in, and then they just hit you with that, and they're like, and it's a true fucking story. Like,
and one of our mutual friends, one of our former teammates,
to that high school.
I have a pair of Marshall High School lacrosse shorts.
Marshall, baby.
In my room. I'm like, I need some T.C. Williams lacrosse merch. Like,
yes, sir.
But
not to mention the incredible casting of Denzel as the coach. Like, he did such a phenomenal job as that character. Like, I can't even, like, if the question was, what are the most impactful, like, actors playing a character that you can think of, that's got to be one of them. Like, Denzel is one of the best actors in the period. Like, and in that movie, this movie's like 20 years old now or something. That, I don't know.
It still hits. It's like it's on that level of Miracle. If you've ever seen that one, the hockey movie.
The United States team winning
versus the USSR. Like, there is so much about, like, there's so much of that movie that is not related to hockey at all.
Yeah.
And yet, obviously, the story is all about a hockey team. So.
And these are movies you can watch over and over and over and over again. Like, don't rest your life.
That is the game. That is the game that ended up being the beginning of the end for Soviet communism, in my theory.
That's the real Rocky. Yes. Rocky 4. The real Rocky 4.
The real Rocky 4 was the 1980 Olympics in Lake Placid.
That's an interesting topic right there.
Oh, bro, this ain't gonna be a politics podcast. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole.
But how the fuck did I not pick Rocky 4 as one of my picks?
I mentioned it.
She did mention it. You said Rocky. You didn't say Rocky 4.
Rocky
you could literally, like, because technically
Rocky
Creed
4
is part of the Rocky franchise, and that one's... Love that one.
But here's the thing. Rocky is a completely different movie in my brain than Rocky 4. I understand they're two different movies, but what I'm saying is, like, all of the Rocky series, it's like there's all the Rocky movies, and then there's Rocky 4. Rocky 4 is like...
Rocky 4 does kind of stand apart from the rest.
Yeah.
In every meaningful way.
I mean, you got Dolph fucking Lundgren in there. But that aside, like, Rocky 1 is my second favorite because of the impactfulness of that movie.
Did you...
Anyways. I digress.
Another fun movie fact. The insurance company who insured Stallone for Rocky 4, like Stallone went to Dolph Lundgren and was like, hey, like, let's box for real, like let's spar for real. And apparently, like, Dolph Lundgren walked into the middle of the ring, and they used the shot in the movie where he just punches him in the chest and Rocky drops.
Mm-hmm.
That was for real. And Sylvester Stallone had to spend 2 weeks in the hospital after that. And the insurance company basically looked at the, like, whatever shit the doctor sent them and were like, oh no, he didn't get punched by Dolph Lundgren. He was in a fucking car crash.
So Dolph can actually throw strikes like
Dolph
that.
Lundgren can hit with, back then, could hit with the force of a fucking car crash.
So that scene of him like punching that like measuring device where it's like a regular boxer can hit like 600 pounds square inch and he's throwing out like 1,300 pounds square inch.
I guess maybe it's legit. Maybe,
Let me just say, as a child growing up my entire life, I always wanted to be Dolph Lundgren in that movie. I never wanted to be Rocky.
How it's like,
I know I'm not alone on that. I know there's a lot of kids out there that wanted to be Dolph.
if you're one of those people, let us know in the comments so that I can come down and make fun of you relentlessly for being the most anti-American person ever.
Hey, that dude looked good as fuck. You're a little kid.
And
You're
it
a
also
big, giant
has to be
dude.
said, the Soviet national anthem fucking slaps.
Yeah, best national anthem ever created, period.
And somehow we got here from Remember the Titans.
This happens. We always come back to the Soviet national anthem. Why
Yeah.
do we
We've talked
Anyways.
about it multiple times, but all right, Bella, you're up. Let's.
Drum roll, please.
Last month.
So I'm gonna have to go with something I can talk about. I'm gonna have to go with Alien vs Predator. Pourquoi? I'll tell you what. I've never seen the Alien or the Predator movies kind of prior to meeting Taylor.
Of course.
Okay.
I was introduced to Predator. Didn't think I would like it. Loved it. Predator is probably my favorite out of Alien and Predator. But it's just so like, it's kind of like the Coraline pick at the beginning. Where like, it's scary enough, it's not too scary. But then there's like twists and turns where you don't expect things to happen and things happen. So you're just on your edge. You're on the edge of your seat the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. And Predator's in it.
And the Predator looks crazy as fuck. Coolest alien-looking thing I've seen in a movie, besides the Alien. But like you said, I think I prefer Predator.
Oh, for sure.
I also prefer Predator.
Mm-hmm.
Predator is more badass than Alien. Yeah, Alien's cool because of like what they can do and how like invincible they are, but Predator's so bad.
Yeah.
So badass.
Alien is dope unless the Predator's there. Then the Predator is dope.
Like, Alien is like that, like, kind of. Okay, have you ever? You guys probably haven't, but have you played Alien Isolation?
Mm-mm.
So it's like you're alone on a ship. A xenomorph is on board,
Oh shit.
and you have to avoid it.
Great. Good luck.
I played that high in VR, and a
Oh, that's
friend of mine
nice.
did not tell me that, like, oh yeah, the xenomorph's going to show up like a quarter of the way through, and you're going to have to deal with that. After almost shitting my pants, I hid in an air vent, and then just took the headset off because I'm like, nope, I'm done. I've seen the ship. I have seen what I wanted to see. Time to move on. Just absolutely fucking horrifying. Just, that's what, like, scared me about Alien was like the way they lit everything. It was like
Oh,
because it
100%.
was it the original Alien. It's like more your brain filling in the gaps to make you scared. But like the xenomorph itself is not really that scary. It's like the original production shots of it were like um they were like there's early film of it, and originally it was supposed to walk like the crab walk style,
Mm-hmm.
but then they have this shot of it in infrared of a guy in the xenomorph costume like walking like that. It just looks fucking ridiculous. So they changed it, but like what I also love about Predator is like they're like is that universe. So it's like they've showed up multiple times throughout history. And it's like they're the most feared hunters in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
But yet they
All these
always
weapons.
somehow end up getting
Killed.
murked by like
Yeah.
one creative person.
Danny Glover, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Like
Get to the chopper.
also H.R. Geiger's Alien has never been in a Call of Duty game. The Predator was in one map of Call of Duty Ghosts. And you could you could be the Predator and roll around and just straight up fucking murk people. And
Bro.
as soon as you died, you wiped the whole map.
With the bomb.
Yeah. When like if you could kill the person who got the Predator, it wouldn't end the game, but it would wipe the map. And I fucking loved that shit.
That
was
sick.
Like you would see it was like we'd play games. It was like that was back when like if you remember Childs from college, we had a clan and like we played every fucking night and was like, oh, it's the Predator map. So we'd all go up to like it was in this like South American setting. So we'd all go up to this one room at the top of this like temple and like wait, just like guns pointed down the stairs. You got as soon as like the thing we needed to go get dropped from one of the enemies, it was like a free for all to try and grab that shit and complete the challenge to then see if you got the Predator as that reward. And so many times we got so pissed off because we didn't get it. It was I might have to go download Call of Duty Ghosts now.
Mm-hmm.
just so I can go back and play that, because that was like, like Predator to me weirdly has more to connect with Call of Duty than the actual movies, but like, yes, I prefer Predator to Alien, but
It's
and then at the end of the movie, when they're on the ship, and then the xenomorph pops out of the fucking Predator, I need more.
well, there is more.
Is there more of that one?
Mm-hmm.
Why haven't you showed me that?
It's just not a good movie. We could watch it though.
there are a ton of like Alien, Predator, like the Predator franchise kind of went off the rails.
Definitely.
Like there was clearly some weird coke going around in LA when they decided to make the most recent one, because just
AVP though was sick. That movie was dope. They did that one pretty good. But then like everything after that was whack.
That's so good.
That movie's great though, especially to like cap off Predator and Predator 2 and then AVP. Like I still don't understand how they like collaborated with Alien, but I'm glad they did and it worked. With the whole like ancient fucking civilization,
That shit
Yeah,
was
like
so
Sumerian fucking temple under the ice, and the beam that shoots down because the 100-year hunt is ready and everything. Like shit was
I
dope.
need to go back and watch that. It's been a long time.
And for that reason, that's why Bella put that on her
Yep.
5 movies to watch when you're high.
Makes sense.
Just makes sense.
You know, like I could think of a couple honorable mentions, but like we've been going for like almost 2 hours now, so like I think we should probably wrap it there. But Bella, thank you for joining us. I'm sure this won't be the last time. Thank you everyone for having a sesh with us. I have been Raveheart. She's been Bella. He has been Taylor Surreal. We'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.